Alright guys, welcome back. So let's go ahead and continue. I haven't really done anything. I just tried to push a new um, change. I didn't really change anything. I just wanted to see if it would allow me to commit or push a change. But it says just that everything is up to date, so we should be fine. Um, so let's keep going here. So it says, what are project dependencies? If your application depends on a package to function properly or correctly, for example, your app won't work as it should, won't run at all if the package becomes unavailable, then the package is considered a dependency for your application. So I believe right now we have two packages that we've used so far, and one of them is Maven, and the other one is Java. So those might be packages that we need to store here in AWS CodeArtifact, but I could be mistaken. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think here, trying to connect these dots. Okay, so then it says no matter unavailable in the package is considered a dependency for your application. No matter what kind of web app you're building, any app will have its dependencies. For example, React.js is a popular package, uh, bundled set of code and files that developers often use to create interactive components in their website that can change without users reloading their page, like updating a list when you add an item. Wait, wait a second. What are packages? One of the first things that you've done in this project is install Apache Maven. So what I told you, to help with building your application, aka your web app. Part of the building process is to pull your application packages, which are bundles of software files that you add to your project to add new functionalities. These packages come from public repositories. Other developers created them and put them on the internet for you to use, often for free. Okay, so it says here, head to your AWS code artifact. Okay, so let me just make this smaller here. Um, and let me pull up here uh, this. I mean, it's not gonna look perfect, but so why not make it look big enough? Okay, so let's go to code artifact here. Okay. And then what does it say? It says, okay, so what is AWS Code Artifact? Maven is going out to grab resources that live in the public internet to pull in your web apps packages. So imagine what might happen to your web app if these public resources suddenly become unavailable or removed. In the real world, an outage of a dependency can completely break your CI/CD pipeline. Maven will fail to build your web app, so any testing and deploying of your latest updates are also forced to stop. There is This is where AWS Code Artifact steps in. Think of AWS Code Artifact as a private storage locker for you to keep your backup copy of all your web app dependencies. Even if a dependency goes down in the public repository that it comes from, you can still access your backup from Code Artifact and continue building your app without any hiccups. You can imagine how our Code Artifact adds a layer of reliability and security, protecting your development process from external disruptions. Super relevant to a DevOps role. Makes sense. So, what do we have here? AWS knows that the code family of tools are so tightly used together to build a CI/CD pipeline, so they share the same navigation panel on the left. Okay. So we're creating new domain. Let's see if we can just make this bigger. Domains. Okay, we'll create here a new domain, and we're going to name it next work. Okay, next work. Why are we creating a domain? A domain in AWS CodeArtifact is like a big folder where you can organize and keep smaller folders of your project materials. Each of these smaller folders is called a repository. So you also have a repository here in AWS CodeArtifact. Okay. You'll also notice that your domain gets a URL. This URL is the entry point to your applications will use to fetch and store the dependencies inside of your domain. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna make this connection between our EC2 instance that we're able to access it through VS Code to this domain that we're building right now. Typically, a developer will create one domain to manage older artifacts in one place. Larger organizations might end up using multiple domains if they have vastly different projects or need to isolate resources for security or organizational reasons. That makes sense. Okay, so we're going to name it, and it says here to add a description. Looks like okay, so we've created the domain. Now we have to create a repository. I think that's what I'm getting. Next work. And we're going to public upstream repository. Maven. Okay, so we're gonna use Maven central storage. Central store. We'll select that and we'll hit next. What is the public upstream repository? Your public upstream repository is not the same as the next work packages repository that you're creating. First, take a look at the short description under Maven Central Store. It provides artifacts from Maven Central Repository. Let's break down how all of these repositories are connected. So if I go to previous here and I go here, what does it say? It provides Maven artifacts from Maven Central Repository. Okay. It says here your local repository. This is your local toolbox where you keep all the software packages you've installed locally in your computer. In our case, the local computer will be using the EC2 instance that's running your Cloud9 environment. When Maven builds your project, it first checks your local repository to see if the required packages are already available. They should be already available because on project number 1, we have we installed the Maven on our EC2 instance. Public upstream repository. If the needed packages are not in your local repository, which it is in our case, then it says Maven then checks your upstream repository. This is like visiting a local hardware store that's set up closer to your home. It doesn't have everything, but it stores a lot of tools that developers often use. Instead of driving far to a big warehouse every time, you go to this local store because it's faster and more convenient. This store also gets its supply from the big warehouse, Maven Central Repository, and keeps a backup. So even if the warehouse has problems, you can still get to your tools. Okay, so let's say for example that we never installed Maven, or we are on a different computer and we have not installed Maven, right? So instead of us manually installing this Maven repository, we are going to use the cloud, in this case AWS Maven repository, where we're going to be automatically getting the resources that we need for our application to work. That's what it's saying. Maven Central Repository. This is a huge warehouse that stores a vast amount of tools and supplies. It's open to everyone across the world. While it has a comprehensive collection, it's not practical to go there for every single thing because it might be slower due to the distance and high traffic. Maven would visit the Maven Central Repository if a required package is not available in Maven Central stores. Right, so this is just a tool that AWS's infrastructure provides. So it's not that we have to manually go out to the internet and grab these resources, but these resources are already provided by AWS. That's pretty neat. Why do we select Maven Central Store? We choose Maven Central Store as our upstream repository because it's connected to the biggest and most reliable library for Java packages. We want to link it to our CodeArtifact to make sure CodeArtifact will make backups of the packages there. Okay, so sounds good. Now let's hit next. And it says in the review page, keep note of the package flow section. Okay, this is what I was attempting to do. Okay, so I do want to use this account, domain, and okay, so what do we have? It says package flow. In the review page, keep note of the node package flow section that visualizes how there will be 2 repositories created as part of the process. Okay, so we have our this repository we created first, and now this upstream repository. Okay, so there is a local repository, so to speak, and there is an upstream repository. Okay. Okay, so it says here, what's in the package flow? Notice how our package flow touches on the 3 repositories we covered just now. Public Maven Central, the vast package library on the internet where all sorts of Java tools and materials are stored. It's the primary source that supplies packages to other repositories like Maven Central Store. Okay. Upstream repository, your contact point to the big library, helping us get and store new tools when we need them for your toolbox. Okay, and then local repository, the personal toolbox where you keep all the specific tools and materials for your current project. So okay, take a screenshot of the package flow panel. Okay. Screenshot and CSS. Package flow. I'll go here. Okay, so the local repository is the store that contains the dependencies that we have manually installed. Why did it do that? Installed. Okay. The upstream repository is the cloud repository that is provided by AWS, that's connected to the public Maven repository, right? The public repository is a big library that is used by the upstream repository to get all the dependencies needed for our project. Yes, that makes sense. I think that makes sense. So let's go ahead and create the repository. And now we are on to step number 3. Okay, we're making progress, guys. Let's go. So it says here, connect the CodeArtifact repository. View the connection instructions to connect your CodeArtifact repository. Operating system. Which operating system do you use to launch your EC2 instance running your Cloud 9 IDE, or in this case our Visual Studio Code? We used Linux. Package manager. What was the package manager that you installed on your Visual Studio IDE? Well, we used the package manager. Might have been what, Maven? Why are we viewing connection instructions? What are we connecting here? The connection instructions will link your project environment, right, our Visual Studio environment, with the repositories in CodeArtifact. Otherwise, your development environment can't fetch and store dependencies from CodeArtifact. Okay. How did we know to choose Mac and Linux for operating system? MVN as package manager. Even if you're doing this project on a Windows computer, don't forget that your EC2 instance we're using to run our Visual Studio IDE is using Amazon Linux, right? MVN is short for Maven, which is the tool we install to manage the building process for our Java web app. This also makes Maven our package manager. Yes, Maven. The tool that helps us install, update, and manage the external packages our web app uses. Great. So, what does it say here? Validation error detected. Value packages for the execution failed to satisfy constraint. Member must satisfy regular expression. Oh. Perhaps we don't need to what? Is that why? Okay, so I didn't like that I put a dot after that. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. We'll select that, and then we'll do MVN, right? So pull from your repository. Okay, run the command in step 3 of your connection instructions in Cloud 9. Okay, so we are going to copy this, and it says that we're gonna do this. Unable to locate credentials. You can configure credentials by running AWS configure. So apparently with this command, we are going to just now make that connection between our developer environment, which is Visual Code, to our repository in CodeArtifact, right? But it looks like we're running into an issue. It says here, what is this command for? Export a CodeArtifact authorization token for authorization to your repository from your preferred shell. It sounds a little technical, but it's actually just giving your Visual Studio a key to open your repositories in CodeArtifact. Create a settings XML file in your web app by running these commands. What is settings.xml? How is it different from POM XML? You might recall that POM.xml is a file created in your web app project that gives Maven instructions on how to build your web app. Think of it as a recipe that tells Maven the ingredients and how to put them together to build the app. Settings XML is slightly different. Now that Maven knows what dependencies to look for, Settings XML tells Maven where to find the dependencies and how to connect to the right repositories. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is going to work, but okay, so it looks like we have successfully created this XML. However, we are not able to export this. It's asking us for this, so we need to figure out how to fix this part, guys. Let's find it out. Unable to locate credentials. You can configure credentials by running AWS configure. Indicates that AWS is CLI is not authenticated, meaning your instance doesn't have access to AWS resources. How to fix it? If it's not installed, it's weird that it didn't ask us to install any of that. So we copy this. We do have the CLI installed, okay, and we're going to run this, and AWS access key. So let's go there. Let's go here, guys. So I'm gonna search for, right, we're gonna search here for AWS IAM. Let's just do IAM, and then it says to go to users and then security T, users, which is this, and then go to security credentials. Okay, verify after configuring, test if AWS CLI is working. So right now it's asking for a access key. Okay, so if you guys go here, there is my access key. So this might be my access key. Okay, so let's try that. Then it says secret access key. So what is our secret? Oh no, what is going on? I don't see, I'm not sure what would be our security key here. I have no idea, so we're going to just cancel this. Okay, and we're gonna use that other option which says to go to our EC2 instance, go to actions, action security, modify IAM role. So we are here in security, and how would you modify this? So it looks like we just hit a roadblock here, guys. I don't see an option here to modify this. Attach an IAM role with necessary code artifact permissions. This is what I need, guys. That's exactly what I need. But where is it? So it looks like it must have been something that I created before, and it asked me to download it somewhere. I have no idea where I put that. So I guess we could just create a new access key. To create a new secret key for an IAM user, open the IAM console, click users, click the appropriate then click create access key. Okay, on the security, if you already have the maximum of 2 keys active or not, you must delete one first before proceeding. So I'm at that point, and I think we're going to install. Oh, let's do the command, right? I wonder which of these two is the correct one. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Next. Break. Okay, so let me copy this. This is plugin classic. And then we're going to do access key ID, right? And then the secret access key. Okay, so I'm just going to copy it here. Okay. Okay, done. Okay, so I'm just going to have it here in my downloads. Okay, so can we, so we go back here to our environment, and let's do again the AWS configure. We'll copy our access key, and then we'll do our secret key, and then default region name. Where would that be, guys? So this is the new one, and it says that we don't have a region, so none. Default output format, what would that be? I have no idea. What if we just do none? So if we did everything right, guys, we should be able to go back to we should be able to copy this, and okay, so it looks like that worked. Great. See, guys, this is what I like about it, because we are able to now figure out things on our own here while we're working on the project, right? We're figuring out how to fix these problems. We don't have to run to an engineer or to a coworker. We can figure things out on our own, right? So it's just a matter of asking the right questions and, you know, thinking critically or analyzing where is that we need to be looking for these things. Okay, so far we have done step number 3. Okay, now we probably want to add this to our recently created XML file. but let's follow here the steps. Okay, so we have created it, right? We use this command, and so I'm gonna run that command here. Let's see if it does something. No, of course that doesn't make sense. Alright guys, so let me just stop right here. So far, you know, we figured out this problem that we were running into to make that link between our coding environment, which is Visual Studio, and CodeArtifact. Now at this point, well, actually we're in the middle of making that link, right? And so I will see you guys in just a little bit, and we'll go ahead and continue. See you guys.